Okay, so here we have the Corona, my drift car. So we have the current seating arrangement. We have a seat out of a Falcon. I think it's out of an XR. We have those like XR, not an XR6, because it haven't written on it if it did, but otherwise it's kind of a bucket seat. And I've also got the stock passenger seat. And then here we have the stock drivers. And there we have the new driver's seat. Okay, and over here we have the new passenger seat as well. Both brand new. They're just early birthday presents. Well, as I expected, things aren't going to be easy. But anyway, so the original one, as it says in the front there. So what I got to do is drill a hole in here and drill a hole in here for the front ones. Not that big a deal. But for the back ones, the original hole is in over here and there's nothing here. So what I'm going to have to do, Matt's got a welder, is weld a bar from this side right across. Here's how we're going to do it. So I've bought these brackets, steel obviously. Okay, now obviously I've got to cut it. I just got home, I've got to cut it and shape it. It'll be welded to the side of the post over here, so it's flush. Come down, okay. But it can't come fully down at the moment because it's too long, but once I cut it, and then it'll sit like a perfect flat top. Okay, same over there, a little bit more cutting to do there. Then I got my bits of steel, okay, which is just a tube, okay, but I needed to lift it because as you can see the height difference between that back and the front. And so once that's all done, that goes on like that. As you can see, I've got to sand off the paint from there, all the sides, probably all the way around. Got to fire up the air compressor, and gives me a chance to use my new air sander. So I did most of the hard work with the orbital, and then all the little fine bits just I went over them with the Dremel. As you can see now, they're all, there's no paint on any of it where we're welding, so it should be okay. Obviously, as you can see, we're welding over the factory bracket like spots, so these shouldn't be any, like these aren't going to be weak and break. I'm just cutting the brackets to size, and I've got my angle grinder and this thing I bought which makes it like a drop saw. Yeah, as you see how that one goes. It'll be, when it's pushed right up against that, it's perfectly flat. I've got a level, so I've checked that. Same with obviously that side. And then these ones, because of the way that falls, need to be cut like that. And then they just go in there. So we're going to weld those on outside the car first. Matt's here setting up his welder. So Matthew's quality welder that we had here was, we plugged it in, it sparked and shorted out because the main like board in it had fallen, like had cracked the plastic and fallen onto a piece of steel which shorted out. So now we had to go all the way down to Cabarito's, half-an-hour drive, and get this welder, which is a stick welder. The other one was a MIG, so this is worse, but whatever. Hopefully it'll work. And just going to practice on a few bits here. Go. It caught on fire, but all good. I'm looking about 2 inches away from the camera lens. Probably a little close, but at least I can look. Oh. Cool. You see how we're doing? That's the one we did before. This is the one I just did, which is a little bit better. I reckon a lot stronger. It's really hot, but as you can see, it's all welded up in the joint. It's not just blobbed on, it is welded and melted together, as you can kind of see there. It's lost its shape and all. So what I'm going to do now, I can't do any more now, that's strong as, and what I'll do is, after I do it, I hit it with this, and any bits that crack or chip, that means they're shit weld, but all the main bits here are fine. These little bits on the side will crack off, okay? But anything that's a good weld doesn't break. Okay, that's quite hot. Done and welded up. I'm getting better at it for sure too. And getting it done pretty quick. So this is the original first one. I've grinded down and I've just grinded the top off just to make it flat. It doesn't have to be pretty. You're not going to see it. Yeah, but I've just grinded that, and then the other one's all welded. So I just got the angle grinder there, and so I'll just grind that one down. Then they're both done. We've got that in there, not welded in. It's just sitting in position. Cut the carpet around it, as you can see, so the carpet can look factory, I guess, once the seat's back in. The main reason I'm doing this is that, now see that extra 2-3 inches in height that XR16 is as low as it can go, really makes a difference when you're in the car, because my knees, because I'm 6 foot and this is only kind of a small car, my knees hit the steering wheel, and unless I want to drive it with the wheel up that high like a bus, it's a bit uncomfortable sometimes. So I'll drill with about a 6mm first, dead center there, and then I'll drill it out with the 8, which is what it's supposed to be. There we go. Obviously it'll sit flush like that. I've got them both in now to the same level and the exact same thing. They're extremely strong, like welded on that side, except obviously there's nothing really on this side, and they just move that, I don't know, millimeter, and it's purely just that joint obviously moving because it's not attached on the front end. So it's very hard to actually get under there, and I've been trying for ages. Well, that's hot. So I just cut these little bits up. So what I will, it's not really an attempt, I'll be able to do it. I'm just going to weld that plate to the front there and then straight down below. See, I did the whole thing. Matt yesterday, he kind of, just gave me a quick rundown, but he'd hardly used this tool either. He'd only used the other welder that he broke. So, but he gave me a quick rundown, but otherwise I've done all the work, so if it fucks up and I go flying out the windscreen, it's my fault, not Matt's. So, see that whole car shake? Now just for a little bit of cleanup. By cleanup I mean angle grinding, not vacuuming. And there we have it all cleaned up. I just got all that shit off the top. Now it's one nice smooth bit. And there we go, put back together, vacuumed, looking fairly factory in there. And that's how it's going to look. So, carpet still flows throughout the car and everything. And had the seats in, I've marked where I've got to drill. Obviously I'm going to drill those holes out. And then I'm going to put the seats in. That's about it. I will have to cut a hole in the front of this. It's only pretty thin metal. I will have to cut a hole in there so I can put a nut and washer on the inside. Okay, and all I've done is, as you can see, I've just cut a slit out. Okay, so I can do that. I'm going to file it down before I shove my hands in there because it's probably sharp. There we have the finished product. Finished, I've put the trim back on. I've got the seats both in, both seat belts are all, hooked up and everything. They've both got the seats in their positions where I like it, and she's got it where she likes it. So I am happy with that, for sure. Very strong, and yeah, at the moment it's a complete success. Had a few little carpet fires along the way while I was welding, just like the underneath of the carpet, but I just sprayed it and went out. So otherwise there's been no problems that I couldn't deal with. And so the only thing is now I'll go drifting in a few weeks, test it out, and if it's all good there, I'm pretty happy. So, well, that's it. And as you can see, it's got way too much behind your head. But see, when you're wearing a helmet, it'll be perfect, because otherwise normally you crouch forward. So, it's pretty bright, and I'm done. So that's the install of my two SAAS racing seats.